What's going on, guys? It's Frito here for your Overwatch. The heroes in Overwatch 2 are a bit more complicated now. Today we'll give you tips on the major reworks, starting off with Doomfist. It's best to think of his slam as a Winston leap. You'll launch yourself in air in the direction you're looking. You no longer need to target the ground, but instead when you land is when he will perform the slam. But what you can do is cancel the slam mid-air to get a ton of vertical control on your mobility. This will allow you to charge up your punch and use your hand cannon on mid-air targets. And if you're struggling up against Doom, keep in mind that most of his mobility is no longer as erratic as it was in Overwatch 1. He will slow down for you, namely because he really has to use his power block to charge up his gauntlet before he's effective. So you don't have to be so afraid of him until that happens. So Ana players, look out for him to set up some aggro onto him to catch damage with power block, and that's when you want to use the sleep dart. Next up is Orisa, who has a very complicated kit, and the thing most players don't seem to get immediately is how to use her ultimate. There's a few options here, but it's usually always better to use her javelin spin to close the distance, blocking projectiles as you do so. Then, as you cast the ultimate, it'll slow enemies nearby you, making it difficult for them to escape, and before they do, you want to use your primary fire to execute the attack, which, depending on how much charge you get, can do up to 225 damage. It reminds me a lot of initiation characters from MOBA games, if you're familiar with that. I'd advise that you wait to use your real Fortify until after you ult, because casting your ult gives you Fortify's effect anyway, which is like getting Fortify twice in a row, making Orisa really tanky. Fortify also gives you 50% reduced heat generation on your primary fire, making you even more lethal with this combo. Tips for the new hero Sojourn: you can use your power slide into a jump to leap yourself in the air above the enemy's defenses. Her disruptor shot nade slows enemies a bit, making them easier for railgun follow-up. And when charging up the railgun, remember that you'll only need 85% charge to one-shot a squishy to the head. That's when they're at full HP. In a 1v1, if you've already damaged them a bit with your primary fire, you may not need the fully charged railgun to finish them off. Bastion's new grenade is great for helping him traverse around the map. A little bit of self-damage getting you to high ground is definitely worth it when your healers can top you up. But I also suggest that you prep into assault mode first, which lasts 6 seconds, way more than you need, and use the grenade to launch yourself into battle to surprise the enemy with a very aggressive peek. Bastion's assault form is easy to deal with when the enemy is prepared for it, but launching yourself to get angles above the enemy's cover can secure some otherwise difficult eliminations. DVa can eat Bastion's artillery shells. Because they won't explode till they hit something, I find it easier to aim the defense matrix at the center of the landing zone rather than trying to scoop them up in the sky. Sombra can hack while invisible, but remember that the enemy will only have 1 second of ability lockout. So you want to time that hack with your teammate being ready to go in and fight right away to take advantage of the enemy not being able to use abilities. Although you can hack while in stealth, the transition from coming out of stealth in order to damage means that you're not really going to be able to take advantage of that 1 second ability lockout yourself. So keep in mind, sometimes it's better to just attack normally, just to have a better surprise factor. The new EMP is less about comboing big ultimates and more about nuking a target. They changed it where you no longer nuke health shields like you used to be able to do against enemy Zenyatas in Overwatch 1, but instead, every target you hit with EMP loses 40% of their current health immediately. So it's still an amazing initiation tool, but I suggest you focus more on your teammates' focus fire on those targets, and I don't think you're going to feel you need further ultimates to finish off the enemy. Next up, we'll cover some minor changes to Overwatch that changes these characters' playstyles significantly. Overwatch 1 veterans, you may remember that you can melee cancel right before landing Winston's jump pack for an ammo-efficient burst damage combo. Well, now there's an extra step to that process. Charge up Winston's railgun as you're leaping through the air, firing before you land, sneak in a melee, and you'll deal about 130 damage. That's quite a lot. That combo is crucial for Winston's success in Overwatch 2. On the flip side, a character like Brigitte no longer has her stun. so you won't expect her to be able to hold her ground against diving characters, stun locking them into oblivion. Instead, Brigitte's playstyle is supportive. She loses the stun, but gains much more distance on her bash, which means one of the best plays you can do for divers trying to overwhelm you is 180 turn away from them and dash away, gaining a lot of distance and getting back around cover. The playstyle of Brig now is to repel enemies back, keeping Inspire to heal up her team and run away. Look to fight when you know you have the damage to take the target down, because her CC isn't enough to secure the kills. Reinhardt 2.0 allows him to cancel his pin, which is very useful when closing the distance against enemies. Rather than always pin towards the target you want to hit, try to pin into a safe location where you can corner the enemy into cover. Just like juggling with Primal Rage, Reinhardt can dive into a location and start swinging and keep something pinned against the wall. Keep in mind though, pin has a lot more maneuverability than you're used to, so you can actually turn it to chase after people a lot better than you remember. Cassidy no longer has the flashbang to easily stun Tracer, but don't undervalue the magnetic grenade. It's a heat-seeking missile that can chase the enemy up to 13 meters away. It does 131 damage. If Tracer does get stuck with it, she can recall, dropping the nade to the floor. All right, guys, that's everything for today's quick tips video to jumpstart you into Overwatch 2. We'll have more videos like this, as well as big in-depth guides, news coverage, and discussions coming around the corner. So to make sure you don't miss out, make sure you click subscribe and also hit the bell icon to get notified directly to your cell phone when our videos go live. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. We'll see you guys next time.